What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Not Just Football with me, your host, Cam Heyward. We got a great show for you. We're going to talk the Steelers game, the preseason game that just happened. We're also going to talk some player safety, maybe some rumors that happened. But I got to talk to my main man, Hayden Walsh. How's it going, buddy?
It's going great, man. I'm really pumped to be sitting here with the 42nd best player in the NFL, voted on by the players from NFL Network. Congratulations, man. I'm proud of you. And how do you feel about the ranking?
Screw the rankings, among the other things. You know, I'm tired of talking about lists and how I feel disrespected by all the different media. Man, I'm just ready to focus on the football at hand and what I can control. You know, I think, it's cool to be recognized. It's cool to make a big spiel about it and say I should be higher or why is this guy higher than me? But at the end of the day, I got work to do. And, these lists aren't going to do it for me.
I understand, and I know you're sick and tired of talking about lists, but I do think it's a cool thing to be recognized by the players. Still a top 50 player, cool thing, and I'm proud of you, man, and I'm happy for you. And I know you want to be higher, but it's still a pretty cool thing. So we can go straight into camp. Let's go a little camping with Cam here. Let's get into the second week of the preseason. Break down for me. Obviously, you had an injury scare this past week. Break down for how the week of practice went and what you saw in the game this past weekend.
Okay, so last week, going into the game, I was all prepared to play. And in the first series of our practice, I get stepped on, and I'm not able to finish practice. Nothing was broken or torn. Just took a wrong hit, and we were being more cautious than anything. So then he kept me out of the game. But moving forward, I felt like I had the best seat in the house to watch a pretty good game, more of a defensive game to begin with. Both teams missed their field goal tries, and that's never a great way to start the game. But there were some good things. There were some bad things. Honestly, I thought on offense we struggled sometimes with the offensive line. I know it's been a big topic, but, you're playing against improved defensive line. You got Josh Allen over there. You got Trayvon Walker. You got some big boys in the middle. It's a good test for our offensive line. They didn't come on the right side of it, but it's a chance for us to get better, and it's a chance for us to work on stuff that we weren't good at. The best way to measure is now, and luckily these games don't count, and guys know that we got to be better because of it. On the other side of the spectrum, I thought the good things in the game, you see guys like our quarterbacks being able to deal with the duress in the pocket, stepping up, making big plays. I think the punter did a decent job. It's Presley Harvin. He's from Georgia Tech. He's not your average-looking punter, but he's got a leg on him. And not many times after a safety do you see a punt go out. I think they stopped him on like the 12 or the 15. And that's kicking through. Most of the time when you punt off, it's at the advantage of the offense returning, because you don't get that many times when you have a kick return with a punt. Defensive side of the ball, I thought we could have been better in the run game, but you did see a lot of energy from guys like Mark Robinson. Justin Lane from Michigan State had a pick. I thought we provided good pressure throughout the game. And at the end of the game, you always want to win the game, no matter what game it is. So it was a barn burner that came down to the last kick. They missed it, and we won.
Yeah, I'm really happy you mentioned a guy like Mark Robinson. He has really stood out. 2 big hits on the last 2 preseason games. He strip sacked Drew Lock in the first one, and then the big hit where he knocked the guy back like 4 yards. How's it cool is it to see him? I believe he's a 7th round draft pick. Really seems to be making a name for himself at camp. Has he shown everything that we've seen on tape so far there?
He's still pretty raw. I think he's still got a lot of upside that he's got to accomplish. But a guy like that who competes, works his tail off, plays with energy, it's liked, and a lot of people notice. It doesn't go, by the wayside. But what can he do with that? Can he continue to be a 3-down player? Can he be a guy who can cover? Um, we know he can hit and come down on the run game, but in this game, you got to be able to cover tight ends. You got to be able to hold your own against sometimes what we call the 3 receiver that winds up being a tight end, a wide receiver, or a running back. So we'll see. Time will tell. This game we got coming up versus Detroit Lions is basically like a dress rehearsal for us. They're going to be playing their guys. They've been on Hard Knocks, so everybody's been looking at them. But we got to go in with the opportunity to get better and an opportunity where both teams are going to be playing most of their starters at least half of the game.
Okay, so that's interesting. I didn't know if that's how they still did it. Obviously, it's the third preseason game. So now that there is not a fourth one, it will be a full dress rehearsal. So we can expect to see you playing even after last week's little injury.
I'm looking forward to playing. God forbid anything happens in practice, but for me, I want to start getting into a rhythm on the field. It's one thing to compete against your guys during practice, but nothing really replaces playing in games. So I'm looking forward to having a real mock week in practice, whether it's game film and study, making sure I take care of my body, getting my 3 lifts in. These things I do to, simulate what a real week will look like. This is what all of our guys should be doing. Because after this, we get a layoff because we don't play next week, and then we play the following week. So this game is very crucial to, making the team and making sure you're ready for week 1.
One thing I do want to ask you about is you say this will be like a mock week. So what were the previous 2 weeks like? How are they different from the real week? Are you not watching as much film, not as much prep on the team? How are they different from what this week is in preseason?
I think players watch film individually. Throughout the week, throughout camp, coaches start to install a little bit more, and you don't want to show too much during the preseason. But this is the time where a coach starts game planning a little bit more, starts putting in a couple more wrinkles. Not necessarily what you're going to look like during the season, but what do you want to show right now? Obviously, I feel like we've only shown a page into what we can do on the field, but that's by design. Sometimes you want to go out there in a game and put yourself in the worst possible play and see how you react to it. That way, you're prepared for those moments. We could show a cover 2 look, and it makes us less sturdy in the run game, but makes us better in the back end. So those are the things you try to clean up and be ready for. But like a game like this, you're playing more situational ball. You're having more, different categories for where you want your plays to be called.
So there is a little gamesmanship that goes on in the preseason where maybe you show certain looks and do certain things to maybe even bait teams into thinking something. Like, how much do you think Cincinnati looks into what you guys do in the preseason this next game coming up against the Lions?
I don't know how much they look into it. I don't think it's a bait thing. I think it comes down to how can I get my players better without giving them everything they need? What are they doing to prepare throughout the week without getting all they need? Coach T does a great job preparing on Tuesday, leading to our first meeting on Wednesday. And in that Wednesday meeting, there's personnel, there's what they like to do, what type of scheme they run. All that is answered in that. And that's not even you getting to your offensive meetings or defensive meetings or positional meetings. And now we really get to simulate that this week. So I don't think it really goes into what the next team is looking at. It's what do I want my team to accomplish during this time?
Yeah, no, I got you, man. That's pretty exciting, and excited to see you play. How much do you think you'll play this week, and how much can we expect the starters to play this week?
I'm going 4 quarters.
Yeah, right. Get out of here. You're not going 4 quarters. Honestly, I didn't even think you were going to play this game because of the foot. So I'm happy to hear you're going to get some reps in a real game.
I need to start working on my conditioning a little bit. I'm gonna get out there. The great thing about it is I was still able to run on the sideline before last game. So my main thing is just trying to get in a good rhythm. Just get used to all the different blocks, moving at a step faster. Because week one everybody's going to be flying. Cincinnati Bengals are not going to take it easy on us. So I'm just chomping at the bit for this moment.
All right, man. I'm excited to see it this weekend. We're expecting 4 quarters of tough, strong preseason football from you against the Hard Knocks crew. So let us know. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Maybe I'll get a spotlight on HBO Hard Knocks. We probably won't ever have it here. So this is probably the closest thing you'll get to a Hard Knocks Steelers this week.
Would you want to do it? Would you ever want to do that?
No.
No.
I don't. I want to stay as far away as possible from Hard Knocks. There are way too many distractions. Sometimes it feels like some of the stories are a little bit made up, and come out of thin air. Like, do we really need to watch a guy getting cut? Like, I understand it's very real in that moment. No player should be cut in front of millions. I just don't think that's right. And man, sometimes I feel like people tend to show out more often than they're used to. I think the camera just provides another layer that you don't need during camp when you just want to, bond with your team and get better at football.
Yeah. Would you say that most of the players in the NFL agree with you on that too? They don't want to do it. Most guys don't want to do it, right?
I don't know. You might find those Cali boys and those people out there on the West Coast might like it, but I don't. You really don't see anybody signing up to be on Hard Knocks. It had to be enforced for a reason. Now let's get into what's happening. I know you've had some time to check on what's going on around sports and pop culture. Hayden, let me know what's going on.
All right, got to start with the Kayvon Thibodeaux hit. I'm sure you've seen it, and if you haven't, everyone take a quick second to go check it out. Low block from a tight end in Cincinnati. Got to get your opinion on it, Cam. You're obviously a guy who plays in the trenches. What do you think about that hit, and should it be illegal?
First, it is a legal block. Let's get that straight. I think I commented on Twitter about it. Is it normal? No. You have a player facing an end zone and another guy diving for his legs. When you first think about it, it's like, oh, that's football. But is it? In our league, we've already gotten rid of when offensive linemen are pooling a defensive back, 180-pound defensive back cannot dive at their legs when clearly they have a mismatch. So now we're talking about a heavier guy in a tight end, going for a defensive lineman's legs, and you just don't see the protection there. You look at the quarterbacks; they are always protected. You can't even flinch at their legs, or they're calling something. It's really interesting when you think about it that when the defensive linemen come off the ball, right, and are passing down, and you see a tight end who is split out but still looking at the line of scrimmage, comes down and barrels down at a defensive lineman who doesn't have clear eyesight of him. Why is that still allowed? The defensive linemen and defensive ends, outside linebackers, they have no protections. And I feel like we've made so many different safeties in our league to protect so many different positions, but still we deal with high-lows that, they say they're illegal now in our league, but still take place where a defensive lineman is in position with another offensive lineman, and then another one comes out of their way and hits them in the legs. We say that's cleaned up. That still happens. And now we still have a tight end getting a running start and shooting for a guy's legs. I don't think that's right. I don't know if the guy meant to do that. I don't think it was malicious. As of right now, it's part of the game, but I think it's time to clean that part of the game up. It doesn't serve anything. Um, it shouldn't be the offense has a clear advantage in that response. Man up to man up, hands to hands, chest to chest. Why is a guy barreling for somebody's legs given an extra safety than a defensive lineman?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that actually that block is illegal in college. So that's an interesting thing too to think about. But I mean, as a defensive player, do you feel that the league protects offensive players more than defensive players?
Yes. We could go back to the old Steelers, Mel Blunt. He was manhandling wide receivers for a very long time. And everybody loved to see it. If you saw Mel Blunt right now, you would never know he was a defensive back because the dude is, 6'5", and very well built, but he was destroying wide receivers. They put in the rule that you couldn't grab wide receivers or you couldn't get them past 5 yards. Um, Now you look at it, and the wide receivers just got so many safeties to be able to catch the ball over the middle. Um, the offensive linemen are being protected now with the pullouts. Being able to pull and not having to worry about a defensive back going for your legs, I think you're looking out for them. It's a great safety, but I'm just asking on the other side, and don't even get me started on the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks have been protected. I think Tom Brady even brought it up one time, talking about how the offense has just gotten a true advantage in this day and age. You see all these points. You can't even pressure a quarterback anymore the way we used to. Um, it used to be affect the quarterback even if he threw the ball. You can't do that anymore. I remember plenty of times when the Steelers were dumping quarterbacks on their heads. Just letting the quarterback know they were there, and it played a factor in the game. It made the quarterback think about the rush rather than thinking about his next read. And I'm interested to see what the NFL does going forward if we're ever going to protect defensive linemen.
And one thing I do want to ask you too, should that block even be happening in preseason? It feels like it's a dangerous block. It's legal, I get you, but if it's dangerous, why even run it in the preseason? I get you have to run the play, I understand it, but it just seems like it's a dangerous play to be running in the second week of the preseason, putting a guy at risk. And luckily, I think Thibodeaux is going to be okay, but it just seems like a dangerous play to be running in the preseason.
I don't think any play is ever dangerous. I think technique, it could have been changed. Um, and I think on here, we're critical of the play rather than critical of the player. I think you can learn from these instances and learn how we can be better as a league if we're protecting everybody. I think this year I was reading something where we had more lower extremity injuries than upper extremity injuries. But let's clean up the lower extremities, because you know, that play is called we call it a wrap, where the tight end is off the ball and is coming to kick out the tight end, the defensive end. We've talked most times you need to alert the other guy on the other side of the ball needs to alert other outside linebacker, just letting them know, be ready for the wrap. Yeah, you're ready for it, but if a guy's swinging or shooting for your knees, that's not a good sign. And I'll say this: I hate to be a dirty player, but if a guy's going to do that, um, wouldn't you think now that gives the defensive lineman more, you know, of an opportunity to step on a guy's hands or step on his chest just because man, you need to set precedent. If he's going to do that, he's going to pay for it.
Wow. So is that's not obviously an admission of anything, but it's just something that guys in the league do, it sounds like, when they get chop blocked or something like that.
Yeah, I think everybody's looking for a clean game, but if they want to take it there, a defensive lineman will totally take it there if they get the opportunity.
Yeah. And well, it's like everything, all the disadvantages against are against you. So you got to take the advantages when you can get them, right?
Yeah. hands down.
Yeah. One thing I did want to ask you about is, do you think there needs to be a change in preseason? We've had some injuries this year. Should we let players play it out? Should players not be playing? Where do you stand on that as a vet?
Um, I love football, and I love being able to get into a rhythm going into the season. But every player um, has to have a relationship with their team to understand what's needed. Um, you look at what's going on in Tampa. I think they've lost almost 3 offensive linemen from preseason. Last year, the Baltimore Ravens lost multiple running backs. Um, sometimes teams tend to go overboard, and I don't know if that's the right thing with Tampa, uh, but I've heard about what happened in Baltimore. Man, they ran those guys in the ground, and those running backs paid the price. I think they lost like a running back, then a cornerback in like play to play. Like it was insane, but every team's different. Me personally, I like to get in a rhythm. I don't need to play the whole game, but I like to get the feel of a game. I like to know I've gotten snaps before I've gotten into the week 1.
Do you have a set? Like, do you know what you need, or is it just kind of like go out there, play a few series, and then you'll just be all right? You'll figure it out. Is there a certain set, or you just play it out?
There's no certain set. Usually, if I get whooped one play, I already know that I'm coming back the next play. So, if Coach T tries to pull me out of that, I'm like, Coach T, give me one more play. I need this, just to know I can still do it. But, you gotta get used to the speed. You gotta get used to playing on a clock like that. You can simulate the clock, but when a team goes to hurry up and then transfers back to just a regular pace and then back to a hurry up, having that communication very quick, it's got to be spot on. I like to work on that communication with my guys. I want to make sure when I come off the field, I'm also talking about communication, talking about what we saw, what kind of sets we got, what they're trying to do to us. Are they trying to build a structure? How they build a structure. They could start out in the spread and then motion different guys in to build to a structure they like, just to show what they need and what they want. Those are the things you talk about. So I want to get used to that again. It's one thing just eating seeds and watching a game. I want to be part of the game and be back in the flow of things.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned you chomping on the seeds. They made sure to get that on the first preseason game. I haven't seen the second one on TV yet, but you are chomping on those things with your little bucket hat on. Looks very cute
Yeah,
out there. So,
bucket hat Cam with some sweet and spicy seeds. That is a good look.
Relax and having a casual day there on the sideline. I'm actually glad though you mentioned Tampa Bay. Got to talk about their quarterback. I don't know. Did you watch UFC Kamaru Usman this weekend get knocked out? Before we
I
get
didn't
into
get a
this,
chance to watch it, but I did hear when we were back on the plane a lot of oohs and ahs. Usman getting knocked out.
yeah, shocking. I mean, I did not see it coming. Unfortunately, I couldn't watch it either, but shocked when I saw it and crazy. But probably the second craziest thing for that night was Dana White making the statement that he had negotiated a deal to get Tom Brady to the Raiders at Vegas, and Gronk would have come along with them. How do you think that plays out? Do they win the Super Bowl, and what happens if Brady ends up in Vegas?
Man, first it was kind of shocking that came about. I know Omaha has a say in getting Gronk on there, and he's doing great things on the UFC, and he got Dana White talking. But you think about what happened. Brady was up, didn't know where he was going, and to know this was the option, what would have been around him? Because I think in Tampa, it was actually a perfect situation. Like, obviously, bringing in Tom Brady is awesome, but let's not act like he didn't have a team around him. Like, he had 2 receivers in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and then you were able to bring in Antonio Brown. You go to Vegas, AB had already burned that bridge. Like, there was no chance of that happening again. obviously Gronk is Gronk, and you knew he would have been successful anywhere. So you put Gronk and Waller together, they're pretty unstoppable. But still, you're worrying about the questions on the defensive side of the ball. I think Tampa's defensive side of the ball is, is pretty good. You could say the reason they won versus Kansas City Chiefs is because of that Tampa Bay defense. They were able to harass Patrick Mahomes and make sure that Tyreek Hill and Kelsey were not able to get open. So kudos to that Tampa Bay defense, but I don't know if you were able to, replicate that with the Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, no, I think he went to the perfect spot, right? I mean, they, like you said, great roster, easier division too. I mean, you don't have to play Patrick Mahomes twice a year, and that's how the division's very tough. So I agree with you there. But I have to ask, did you see his appearance on the Shop though, talking about how one team in particular, him saying they're going to keep that mother expletive over me? I got to be about the Raiders, right? It's got to be.
Man, you don't know who he's actually talking about, but everybody's seen the Shop clip, and everybody's got their conspiracy theories of who it's going to be. Is it Jimmy Garoppolo? Is it a guy like Tua down in Miami? Because there was always rumblings about him going down to, Tom Brady going down to Miami. But now everybody thinks it's Derek Carr. I have to say, Derek Carr is not a slouch. Like, let's get that straight. Like, you can, say like, I can't believe you would keep that dude. But Derek Carr is younger and you could say he has a stronger upside at this point than Tom Brady because you're going to get more years out of him. That's not saying he's better than Tom Brady. But if you're looking at it that way, I don't know if you can just say it was Derek Carr and, how could you not do this deal?
One thing I will say, don't say that about Brady. I think everybody thought he couldn't play much past 40. Dude's 45. If you told me at 55 he's still going out there slinging it to somebody, I won't be shocked if he's pulling Gronk somehow with him. I don't know, dude. Don't ask me. They do this stuff. I do think it's funny though. I wonder, do the Raiders get Devontae Adams if they don't have Derek Carr there, right? So it's almost looks like they look a lot better today too, right?
Yeah. I don't think Devontae Adams leaves the Green Bay Packers to play with Tom Brady. I think he really wanted to play with Derek Carr. And I'll be honest, I don't think Tom Brady is playing at 55. Giselle, you need to step in. Giselle, you need to step in. At this point, like, you need to get your husband together because now we're hearing stories about him doing the Masked Dancer and all this stuff, or Bora Bora. Where is he going to be wound up next? But 55, I think TB12's got to, shut it down.
All I'm saying is just be careful. Like, you don't want to be on freezing cold takes because he's at 55 winning Super Bowls and you've been retired for a couple of years. So just be careful. I'm just trying to watch your back. But we'll go from one superstar to another superstar conversation. I don't know if you saw the Taylor Rooks and Jason Tatum conversation about Kyrie Irving and Damian Lillard, where Taylor Rooks said that Kyrie Irving was a superstar and Damian Lillard still had some work to do. Don't really care. Well, let me ask you this. Who do you think they're both superstars? Kyrie's a superstar, Damian's not. Where do you stand on that argument before we get deeper into this conversation?
Okay. First, we personally know Taylor Rooks, so we are not attacking her. We are just spitting. We feel like we're spitting facts at this point. At least I do.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Kyrie and Dame, they're both superstars. Both have, won games, been in the MVP race. I understand everybody thinks Kyrie is a superstar, and he should be. He won a championship for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Without him, there is no championship in Cleveland Cavalier history. But let's not sleep on Dame Lillard. This dude, him and CJ McCollum were doing some special stuff up there in the Western Conference where it's been daunting for all those years. They made it to the conference final, I think in 2018 versus, one of the most unstoppable teams ever. I think they got swept, but to make it that far was an accomplishment in itself. Dame is looked at one of the premier players at his position, him and Kyrie. To say Dame's not a superstar just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think I looked up today. Dame has 3 more All NBAs, 1 less All Star appearance. I believe he's got him in points and assists and rebounds, and that's not necessarily the big thing too. It really brought me to the question of what constitutes as a superstar, right? Like to me, it's is it global fame and success? Is it being one of the best players in the league?
So I did some homework on this. I had to look up what people think is a superstar, and some of the things I really value: leadership, being out in front, being the poster boy for stuff. I think you've got to be the guy everybody looks to. Being unique. I think you have to, not only lead, but I think there can't be so many people doing the same thing you're doing. People are trying to replicate it, but you got to stand out. I think the thing I love about Dame too is his integrity and loyalty, because he could have simply been elsewhere. You don't see many guys staying on the same team and trying to win on an organization. You see so many guys saying, "Hey, they got a messed up, salary cap. I can't stay there. I got to go somewhere else and build something brand new." So I think that's got to go into consideration as well. And then you got to have the accolades as well. You got to be able to win with your team, not necessarily win a championship, but you got to be able to win and be able to be the reason why you guys win.
Yeah, so and it kind of felt like with the Taylor, or back to that real quick, it felt like almost the championship was the deciding factor in that. And it's like I'm with you. Kyrie was a huge part of that win with the Cavs, but it's like if Dame was on the bubble Laker team, would he be a superstar in her eyes? Like that's kind of where I'm at on it. But I do want to do a rapid fire with you. I'm going to name some former athletes and some current ones. I want you to tell me if they ever were a superstar in your eyes, okay? Because I want to play the superstar game now. All right, you ready?
Yes.
You ready?
Yes.
Randy Moss.
Yes.
Michael Vick.
Superstar.
Michael Vick.
Superstar.
Michael Vick.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Did we not watch Mike Vick on Madden and everybody wanted to be him?
Is he a Hall of Famer to you?
Man, I want to say he's a Hall of Famer because I feel like he changed the game.
Okay.
I don't know if the stats back it up, but I'm going off of straight. There wasn't a guy like him.
Mm-hmm.
Like Vick, he changed the culture of running quarterbacks, and everybody wanted to be Mike Vick. Mm-hmm. Like everybody wanted to be Mike Vick. Everybody wanted a pair of his cleats.
I think you're right. That right there makes him a superstar. Dude had his own cleats that were awesome.
Yes.
Everybody had those.
Yes.
Everybody loved those.
I'll tell you right now, when he got signed to the Pittsburgh Steelers, there were guys on the team getting shoes signed by Mike Vick when he was on your team.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think we forget just how popular he was. I think you're right.
Yes.
All right.
Vick was
Tracy McGrady.
Ooh. I think Tracy McGrady's got to be there too. And I feel like I'm saying this a lot, but T-Mac, when he threw it off the backboard, changed the game. Everybody had a T-Mac shoes. Everybody had T-Mac shoes.
I did have the T-Mac shoes. The throwing off the backboard thing, I don't know as much, but I will say he kind of has a little bit of Dame to him. I know he didn't do it all on one team, but he had issues in the playoffs, didn't win as much, I think, as probably some people thought too. But he probably is.
And he's got a memorable moment too. He's got a memorable moment when they were playing the San Antonio Spurs, and he scored like ungodly 13 points in what was it, 20 seconds or so?
Something crazy. You're right.
It was ridiculous.
And the shoes, you're right. I think I underestimated just how cool those were and how popular those were for a brief time.
Yes. Yes.
All right. I'm going to go current baseball player, and I know how much you hate on baseball. Aaron Judge.
Oh, man. Well, he's probably going to win the MVP. I know you don't agree with me, but he just knocked out his 48th home run today, and so he's creeping up there, man.
He's 48. I think it's 49. I think it was 49 today. I could be wrong, but I think it is. Whatever. He's damn near 50, but I still think Shohei wins the MVP. I mean, I'm just being Sox. I'm biased, but I'm still being. I think I'm right.
Homer.
Facts are facts, man. Facts are facts, all right? But I'm glad to hear that you could say baseball can have superstars. I was worried you were just going to totally
Yes.
scoff at that sport and just totally forget about it.
No, and this is the thing. You have more superstars in baseball who don't win World Series. And that just proves my point. You have a guy like Mike Trout. How would you look at Mike Trout? Would you consider him a superstar? He's never won before.
Yeah.
I think he is a superstar.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
There's so many great players that don't always reach the pinnacle of success. A guy like Charles Barkley was a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
These are guys you have to respect and put on that upper tier that are Hall of Famers and superstar winners, but didn't win the big game when they had their opportunity.
Dan Marino.
Ooh. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you had to think about that one to me.
You still look at his stats,
Yeah,
and what he did in that era, without they weren't throwing the ball like they do now. And his stats still stack up like some of the best. He's part of an undefeated team that didn't win in the Super Bowl, but man, Dan Marino was that guy, and he was in Ace Ventura, so that just qualifies for superstar fandom right there.
That was on the other day. I actually saw him get picked up by Walter Marvin and kidnapped. That was pretty funny. Vince Carter.
Vince Carter?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, he's a superstar. I named everybody, and I said they were all superstars, but how many people go on the YouTube and watch the dunk contest with Vince Carter? Vince Carter revolutionized the dunk contest again.
All right, another one for you for superstar, not current player you play against, Lamar Jackson.
Ooh, man, superstar. Yes, he's a superstar. He's on the right trajectory for it. He is a superstar in our league. He is the guy that's already won an MVP at such a young age. And why are we hating? The dude is about to get paid. They better pay him. If they don't pay him, they're stupid. I want them to mess up the Baltimore Ravens salary cap. Come on, Baltimore. Do something right.
What about LaMelo Ball?
No, he's not a superstar yet.
Not yet?
Not yet. He's been on a TV show. I don't know if that was YouTube or whatever, but LaMelo Ball is not a superstar yet.
Ja Morant.
He's too young.
Ja Morant.
Ja Morant is a superstar. I'll give you that one. Ja Morant is definitely a superstar. That dude breeds confidence. You've seen him in playoff basketball already. And, man, I just feel like he is the culture right now. He is the guy that stands out. And Ja Morant is a guy that more and more people are starting to look at. And more people are starting to wonder, did the Pelicans make the right decision by taking Zion Williamson before Ja Morant?
Zion Williamson, superstar or not?
He's a superstar just because of his dunk clips. And I think the jury's still on Zion, honestly, though. And, he's made one All-Star, but we just haven't seen him for an entire season.
Josh Allen, superstar or not?
Yeah, he's a superstar. He didn't win. He hasn't won a Super Bowl, but, man, whenever you hear everybody talk about the Bills, it's Josh Allen in the Bills. That dude is a dual threat quarterback. Big, lanky. They've called him the next Ben Roethlisberger. He hasn't won yet, but the dude is tough to break down. You got to make sure you put your body on him because he will break through some arm tackles.
All right, I got a borderline one here. I think it's close because he's not been in the league too long. Joe Burrow. Play him week 1.
Ooh. No, he's not a superstar. And I just think Joe B has only had one season, right?
Yeah.
One season truly healthy, and he was successful in that. But I'm pretty sure the Bengals want to see him more, and Obviously, he's a great talent in our league. And if he had won the Super Bowl right then and there, they would already crowned him, the superstar. But I think everybody's looking for that guy to play just a little bit more.
What about a guy like George Pickens? Is he a superstar yet, or how much he got to work on to be a superstar?
I can't believe you just said George.
I'm sorry,
George. I'm gonna say you're not a superstar yet, but that should just motivate you to be the superstar you're supposed to be. You've got all the talent in the world. You're still growing, and you're going to be a heck of a player if you take care of your stuff on the field.
I think I'm going to keep this game going where just random records from now on, I'm just going to say a random athlete's name and ask if it's superstar or not, if everyone's okay with it.
Yeah, it's not that random, but you spend some time with it, and I got to deliver. But as you can see, I'm a fan of all. I usually say you're probably a superstar if I'm watching. And you guys give me things to watch.
Yeah, if you're a fan, you will justify them being a superstar. That's very clear. So if anybody just wants to be friends with you, right, superstar designation, they can get it.
Yeah.
All right.
We have nothing but superstars on my show.
It seems like it. So yeah,
you're a superstar to me too.
Thanks.
All right, and now we have to get what everybody's been waiting for. What have I been watching lately? And guys, if you haven't had a chance to watch House of the Dragon, you will have wasted your time. I think Game of Thrones went off before the pandemic, and finally we are at the point where Game of Thrones is finally back. Man, it had dragons. It had deaths. It even had a weird birth scene that I don't feel comfortable about. But it also had betrayal. It had duels. What could you ask for in an opening episode? But man, I'm glad it's back. Hayden, what did you think about it?
I did not watch a second of it, but I want to know how long the episode was. You just described 10 years of television in a matter of one episode. How long was last night's episode or Sunday's episode?
It was one episode. It was one episode, and it was an hour and 5, I think. And you got all of that.
I mean, geez,
you had dragons. You didn't just have one or two dragons. There's literally 10 dragons right now. You had people fighting for the Iron Throne again. I put this out on Twitter that we need to have another fantasy Game of Thrones draft. Last time we did it, I don't even know who won. And you didn't even watch Game of Thrones, and then you ended up in the fantasy draft, and somehow you got I think you almost won.
I did almost win. I got the girl with the dragons. I got her as my first pick, and I
Daenerys.
Yeah, her, yes. And that's who took me all the way, baby. It was awesome. Yep.
I just want to have a segment where I get you to pronounce all of the Game of Thrones names and see you struggle with each of them because they're not easy.
I'm in.
But
yeah, I'm in.
We got to make this more competitive, and we got to find a way to do a fantasy draft. How many kills they have, how many obscene scenes there are. It's everything you want. Everybody make sure you watch. Make sure you comment on Not Just Football and talk about the House of Dragon because it was a great episode. And I'm pretty sure we'll be talking about some other TV shows in the future. And maybe we'll even do, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, and we'll do something like that to make Hayden more involved because I think that sounds like something right up your alley.
More than this Game of Thrones, probably, yeah. I'm not going to go invest the time to go watch the first show I have to watch to get this one. So I'm sorry. I'll just Cliff Notes it and just try to act like I know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. Speaking of invested time, I want to say thank you so much, guys, for taking this time to watch and listen to this awesome episode of Not Just Football. Hayden, how you think it went today?
Had a lot of fun, man. Like I said, I'm proud to be sitting with the 42nd best player in the NFL, voted on by the players from NFL Network, and hopefully we can continue to play Superstar or not. I'm really excited about it, man. So I had a good episode.
That's a new segment. All right. Well, we'll have some more in the future. Thank you again for watching Not Just Football with your host, me, Cam Heyward. Had fun. See you next time. Peace.